Welcome to the Trip Tales podcast with me, Kelsey Graves. Let's jump into a new episode exploring a vacation destination that you'll want all the details about. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Trip Tales podcast. Today I am going to be giving my honest review about our Disney Wish cruise sailing. For those of you who follow me on Instagram, you followed along with all the stories and the craziness that came along with us cruising during Hurricane Milton's approach to Florida. So let's get into my full and honest review. I am not going to leave anything out, and I'm going to be sharing all of our thoughts about the Disney cruise so that you can better make your own decisions. So let's start with why we booked this cruise and what we expected. I had multiple people on the podcast and many friends tell me all about their amazing experiences on Disney cruises. I had only been on one cruise as a tween. My husband has never been on a cruise, and our family had never been on a cruise together. Ever since my husband and I started dating and got married and traveled together, we both agreed that we didn't think we were cruise people. We would always say we'd much rather be at a destination and really get to know a city or an island without being confined to a boat. I don't know what got into me, but I think it was starting this podcast and really diving into the world of travel and family travel that started to change my mind about cruises and specifically Disney cruises. So I had a few people on the podcast that shared their amazing experiences. I started doing a ton of research about Disney Cruise Line, specifically the Disney Wish, which is a newly launched ship. It launched in 2022. And it's still kind of bright and shiny and seemed like a super special family trip. So when we were planning our fall break for 2024, my husband had recently started a new business that he kind of needs to be around on the weekends for, which I know is random, but we were looking for something that we could do in the middle of the week and not take up our weekends. And in my research, I found out that the Disney Wish sails Monday through Friday, a 4-night cruise out of Port Canaveral, outside of Orlando. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the perfect opportunity to try a Disney cruise within the confines of the weekdays. And I got so excited. I mean, probably one of my biggest strengths and weaknesses is that I am an eternal optimist and I just think everything's going to be amazing. So I dove headfirst into booking and planning this Disney cruise. I watched every YouTube video. I made super cute itineraries to reveal this cruise to our kids. I got Disney Cruise t-shirts made. I bought magnets for the door. I was all in. We even got our kids passports for the first time for this cruise. So we did this big family reveal where we showed them their passports and gave them pirate night stuff and showed them the door magnets and the t-shirts, and they were losing their minds. The entire family was so excited about this cruise and maybe put a little bit too much pressure on the fact that it was going to be epic and magical. So let's talk about getting to Orlando. Port Canaveral is just about 30 to 40 minutes outside of downtown Orlando. We had the opportunity to stay at the JW Marriott Orlando Grand Lakes because I was going to do some content creation for them. So we had a little trade going, which was amazing. It worked out perfectly. We needed to be in Orlando anyways. They wanted us to check out the property and kind of share about the benefits. And that was a lovely part of our trip. So we fly down to Orlando, and already in the news, Hurricane Milton is developing in the Gulf of Mexico. And everybody's saying, oh my gosh, it's growing in strength. It's a category 4. Now it's going to be a category 5. There was a lot of news going on. And my mom was like, what are you doing? Why are you getting on a cruise ship in the middle of a hurricane? But all the locals that we talked to down in Florida were saying, oh, don't worry. Cruises are almost never canceled. The captain will find sunshine and sail a different path. I did quite a bit of Googling and went down Reddit threads. And it did seem like typically cruises can get away from hurricanes and go in different directions, and it's not that big of a deal. So back to my strength and weakness of being an eternal optimist, I was like, this is going to be fine. So we get to the JW Marriott Orlando. This is an amazing property. We absolutely loved it. It's super spacious. It's this resort area called Grand Lakes. And in Grand Lakes, there is a JW Marriott and a Ritz. They are both humongous and spacious. And there's this massive outdoor area with pools and a lazy river, splash pads, playgrounds, this cool, like aqua water adventure thing. It kind of looks like a ropes course, but it's all in the water. So you kind of like have to navigate around this water adventure park while water is spraying on you and dumping on you. We never actually got a chance to do that, but it was cool. And that's there. There's poolside food and beverage service. There's cabanas. There's hot tubs. Water slides. Did I say water slides? There is like so much to do at this property. I highly recommend it. We had friends that were also going on the Disney cruise that stayed down there on Marriott points. So you can use Marriott points for the Ritz or the JW Marriott. And I highly recommend that as a place to land for families, just because it really feels like you escape the hustle and bustle of Orlando and the parks and everything that's going on. And it feels like a true retreat. So we were there for 2 nights. The first day was fairly good weather, but the second day it really started to rain in Orlando. So it was hard to enjoy the outdoor pools. We ended up going to see a movie. We went to go see Wild Robot in an Orlando theater just to kind of have something to do. And we were just like anticipating getting to this cruise ship because we wanted to get out of Orlando because the hurricane was like headed towards the city. Before we jump into boarding the cruise, I do want to talk a bit about all the stuff you have to do in preparation if you've never done a cruise before. So you book it, no problem. I would recommend either booking it through CostcoTravel.com because we got a $500 or $600 Costco shopping credit, which is huge for us. Like we shop at Costco weekly, so that is like true cash back in our pocket. Or using a Disney planner. You guys know there's millions of Disney planners out there. You can always DM me for some recommendations. I have a few good ones, but using a Disney planner will kind of make the process a little bit easier for you because it is kind of a lot to manage when you book this cruise. So as you book, you're going to be asked if you want early or late dining. Every Disney cruise rotates through 2 dining times. The early is 5:45 and the late is 8:30, I believe. We wanted early, but the only thing available when we booked was late. So we selected late, but there was a spot to get added to a wait list for early dining. So I went ahead and selected add us to the wait list for early dining. The next thing is 30 days out from your cruise, you have to do like this online check-in thing, which gives you your boarding time. It happens at midnight Eastern time or 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. I hate how Disney does everything at like midnight or 6 a.m. I'm like, can you just have it be at like 4 p.m. so we can all just be like awake and ready to book? But anyhow, I stayed up late 30 days before, and you have to have all this stuff ready. I'm just going to let you know if you want to book the exact 30 days out, you have to have all your passports ready so that you can enter in passport numbers. You have to have photos of every person in your group from the shoulders up that's not their passport photo. So that's kind of random, but I had to go around and take a picture of every person in my family from the shoulders up, like a clear photo with like just kind of a plain background. That's what every time Disney is scanning your key to the world card, which we'll get into, your picture is popping up at every location so they can kind of see that it is you. So you just had to have like a lot ready, and it took much longer than I expected. Like I want to say it took at least 30 minutes to enter in all this information for this online check-in. So just know that that is part of the process as well. Okay, so let's board the cruise. Monday, we Uber over to Port Canaveral. It's raining, which is not super fun because you kind of want the day you board your cruise to be like sunshiny and exciting and beautiful weather as you explore the cruise ship. But we did book in hurricane season. We booked in October, which after this experience, I would 100% say don't do. It's just too risky. And there's still tropical storms and hurricanes happening down in that area. There have already been 2 major ones in Florida. I just don't think it's worth going out on the sea during hurricane season. But again, I'm an eternal optimist. So I thought, oh, we'll get the 1 week where it's going to be beautiful weather. Well, we didn't. The nice thing is Disney Cruise sends you luggage tags in the mail. So you bring your luggage tags with you. You don't want to put them on before you fly to the airport because you get obviously your own luggage tags for flying to the airport. But the night before or the day of that you are heading towards your cruise ship, You put all these luggage tags on your luggage and they take them away from you the second you arrive. So that's super nice. We pulled up to the cruise terminal. Someone came out and literally within seconds took all of our luggage to deliver it to our door, which was amazing. So we were able to walk onto the cruise ship just with backpacks. In our backpacks, because we were thinking optimistically, we had sunscreen and we all had swimsuits on just in case we could play in the pools and on the water slides and that sort of stuff. But it was pretty rainy. So you go into the terminal, it kind of looks like an airport terminal, and you go up these escalators and you're waiting for them to call your boarding group. Ours was ready to go by the time we arrived. We arrived around 12:30 p.m. So we walked right onto the ship. It's kind of crazy. You just like enter through this tunnel walkway and then you're like on the ship. You kind of can't even really tell that you're like about to enter a cruise ship. And just like you've probably seen in videos, it's super sweet and magical because you enter into the grand hall and a Disney cast member asks you the name of your family. So I said the Graves family, and they announce into a microphone, introducing the Graves family. And you enter the grand hall and someone hands you magic wands. And Belle was waving from the balcony up top. And my littlest just thought that was all so cool. Every 10 minutes, they run a little introductory show where a character comes out and kind of tells you wishes do come true, and you wave your magic wands, and the gorgeous chandelier above twinkles and sends lights all throughout the grand hall, and you really feel like you are on your way to an epic Disney sailing. And we were pumped at this point. I was sending selfies to people that love Disney cruises. The kids were all just like so excited. We were like, what do we do first? Let's go explore this cruise ship. So one of the first things you want to do, especially if you have kids, and even if you don't have kids, is explore the kids clubs, because for about 3 to 4 hours when you first board the Disney cruise, the kids clubs are open for an open house. After the open house, they close them securely for the rest of the trip, obviously, because it's only for the kids and it's all super secure. So we went straight to the kids club and wandered around, and it was super epic. There is Star Wars Cargo Bay with all these Star Wars things to play with. There is an area where you can build your own roller coaster and then ride it through like a little virtual reality ride. There is Belle's Library, where there will be storytelling later and characters come to do storytelling. There is Rapunzel's Art Studio, where there's a lot of crafting that happens. There's a super cute little play area for littles that has little mini slides and tunnels and lots of little buttons and things to press and play with and kind of pretend you're driving your own cruise ship. There's the Marvel Studio, where you can build your own Marvel superhero skin and then it appears on a life-size mannequin. I mean, I think we all know the Disney Imagineers are next level. I mean, what a job to create these spaces. My kids were blown away and could not wait for Kids Club to open for them to go play in the Kids Club. We also at that time got them registered with their magic bands that they give them. You do not have to bring a magic band on this ship. You don't have to purchase anything. When you get on the ship, they will give you a magic band that works to scan them in and out of the Kids Club. I highly recommend registering for them to Kids Club right then at the beginning as you're boarding the ship, because the line gets super long later in the day, like maybe 30 to 45 minutes long. We saw later and we were like, oh, we're already registered. We're good to go. Another thing you can do when you board the ship is go get lunch. So we went up to Marceline Market, which is on deck 11, which is where all the like quick service food is. It's a massive, beautiful buffet. And then there's also Mickey's Festival of Foods, which is 5 walk-up windows, which serve different things. So one window has pizza, one window has burgers and chicken tenders, one window, I think it's Donald's Cantina. That's probably the best one. It has Mexican, so you can build Mexican bowls, tacos, burritos. We all loved that one. There's a barbecue spot, which people rave about. We actually never got, but it's supposed to be delicious with tons of barbecue sauce choices. And then there's Minnie's Ice Cream Shop, which is soft serve ice cream, which is open almost 24/7. Our family visited it multiple times a day. They have vanilla and chocolate swirl, and then every day there's like a special flavor like mango or banana or strawberry or blueberry. So that's a really fun spot as well. Hey, Trip Tales listeners. So, you all know how much I absolutely love creating content for Trip Tales, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to combine their love for travel and chatting with amazing people? But let's be real. As much fun as this is, travel content creation can be a bit pricey. From flights to hours of editing, while I juggle the chaos of being a mom of three, it's a wild but awesome ride. But guess what? There's this super cool website called buymeacoffee.com that was made specifically for creators like me and coffee lovers like, well, all of us. You can now support Trip Tales by literally buying me a coffee. Trust me, this busy mom could use a little caffeine boost to keep bringing you all the travel tales and tips you love. Plus, here's the fun part. If you do buy me a coffee, I'll give you a special shout out by name in the next episode. So, if you enjoy the podcast and want to support the show and my grocery bill, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Kelsey Graves or click the link in the show notes. A huge thank you in advance for considering it and for keeping my coffee cup full and my mic on. All right, now let's dive back into today's episode. But for our first lunch, we went to Marceline Market. Now, Marceline Market has amazing food, tons of choices. It's just a little chaotic. There's tons of people walking in every different direction, trying to get in line, but we'll get more to that later. But for this first lunch, my daughter and I both found this one section that had teriyaki salmon, jasmine rice, sauteed vegetables, sweet chili soy sauce, green onions. We built these delicious salmon teriyaki bowls and we absolutely loved them. We went multiple times back just to get that specific dish from Marceline Market, but they have everything you can think of: steak, chicken, pot stickers, shrimp, crab legs, pastas. You really can find something for everyone. An entire dessert bar. It's a pretty impressive buffet and we all loved the food. Now, normally there's a big sail away party that happens on the pool deck where there's a big stage and there's tons of space to view. Well, since it was raining, they moved this indoors to the Grand Hall. So again, that's a little bit of a wah-wah. You're all kind of crammed in there trying to find a spot. We still saw it, thought it was cute. There's a lot of dancers and music, and we still kind of had the Disney magic feels, but it was a little like, not as magic as being on the pool deck and watching your ship sail away from the pool deck. But we watched the party and then we went up for some ice cream to watch the ship pull away from shore, which was like a little exciting and a little concerning because Hurricane Milton was coming. It was just kind of like, bye, Orlando. And it's like raining and a little ominous. And the waves were pretty big because hurricane weather was approaching. One of the first things my daughter found was the hair braiding station, which is on deck 11, just outside of the pools. This was really exciting because it is adorable and it is cheap. It was $1.50 a braid. I was kind of like, whoa, Disney, I probably would have paid like $20 a braid, but thanks. So she got two little braids in her hair. It was $4. I was like, okay. I think $4 with a lot of things have included gratuity on the receipts. So anyhow, we got our hair braided. Highly recommend doing that. And then the kids went off to the kids club. It was very rocky. So like as you're walking, it was a little like, whoa, I can kind of like feel the ship moving and almost miss a step. It was kind of funny because later in the night, people would be having their like adult beverages and they're like, I swear I'm only stumbling because this ship is rocking. It was kind of like an ongoing joke with adults. But you could definitely feel the ship moving, which I wasn't expecting because most people will say you don't really feel cruise ships moving that much. We felt it extensively. We let the kids play in the kids club for little while, and then we went to our first dinner, which was at Marvel. Marvel was cool. It's kind of like a loud, chaotic restaurant with screens, like a story going, like Marvel characters telling a story on some screens. There's this light fixture on the table that you kind of press these buttons and it a little interactive. The menu was pretty good. It was a good dinner. I will say one thing that we didn't know, but just expect is a lot of times you're seated with other people. A lot of the tables hold 8 or even more. So you might be clustered together with another family that you'll be sitting with the entire cruise. So know that. The best part of Marvel is that Spider-Man runs out at the end and he's like so fun and in character and really fast and speedy and spidey all around the restaurant. And they do say Spider-Man doesn't have time to take picture with every kid. So he's going to run around your table. He kind of high fives everybody and is bebopping around. And you're just supposed to kind of like take a video as he passes your kids, which was cute. And our kids loved. He high fived everybody. And that was probably the most enjoyable part of the Marvel dinner. The kids were still loving kids club at this point, so they all went back to the kids club. My two youngest, who were 6 and 9 at the time, were both in the Oceaneers Club, which is the super cool creative one. My oldest, who was 12 at the time, was in Edge, which is kind of the tween/teen club. She liked it, but it's definitely not as cool as Oceaneers Club. It's like one big room with some couches and some video games, and there are some counselors that facilitate some sort of like get to know you games and trivia and that sort of stuff. But the most important part is that they have an icebreakers on the first night. I think it was around 8 p.m. My oldest went to Icebreakers. That is where you can kind of get to know people and they play icebreaker games. And she did meet a friend that night, which was very helpful because then they could like exchange numbers and you can text through the Disney app, the cruise app. And so she was able to kind of like text with her the rest of the trip and meet up at the pool or meet up at different spots. So definitely recommend the tweens going to Icebreakers because that is how they'll find a friend. So while the kids were at Kids Club, my husband and I went to Nightingale's, which is a little lounge and bar right off of Deck 3, right off of the Grand Hall, kind of right after you drop your kids at Kids Club. It's like, oh, look, here's a super cool adult only bar. And we did talk to some people on the ship that said that was intentional. Like they wanted a spot for parents to find right after they drop their kids. There was live music in here, a piano player. She was playing the piano and singing, and it was lovely. We ordered some drinks and just kind of like settled into the cruise and chit chatted. We still could feel the boat rocking extensively. Our kids were in Kids Club. We just kind of made the best of it. I believe this night we also made our way up to the Rose, which is up on deck 11, which is a Beauty and the Beast themed bar. Very peaceful, very high end feeling, lots of lounge furniture that overlooks the ocean, and bartenders that can get you anything from a glass of wine to an old fashioned to an espresso martini. We had a really fun bartender up there named Himi, Himi, who gets real passionate about his cocktails and really wants to make you something super special and will ask all of your favorite things and really take some time to make you something special. So I think my husband got an old fashioned that was served in like a treasure box that he opened and there was smoke coming out of it. It was pretty extensive. And I got an espresso martini and we just kind of like enjoyed the rest of our evening before it was time to pick up our kids. We picked up our kids around 9 p.m. and got settled in our stateroom. I should say our luggage did arrive around 4 or 5 p.m. We got organized in our stateroom. Packing cubes helped a ton because there's a lot of places to put things, but not a ton of hanging space. So we had everybody's stuff organized in packing cubes. That was really easy to kind of like stuff in little cubbies or drawers. Another thing that I absolutely loved having was a pop-up hamper. I ordered one on Amazon. It was still kind of flat packed, you know, it hadn't taken the rubber band where it pops up yet. I popped that up and that helped keep our stuff organized through the whole trip. I also loved the hooks, the magnetic hooks that you can put on the wall because all cruise cabin doors or all cruise cabin walls are magnetic. So you can pop those magnets on everywhere. Ours weren't heavy enough to hang like a bag or even like a beach bag, but it could hang swimsuits and lanyards. So we used it to dry swimsuits. You might want to buy heavier duty ones and look at the pound, you know, whatever amount of pounds they're able to hold in order to get them heavier duty. But it worked for us to dry swimsuits. So I took notes throughout the cruise so that I could remember everything because I was just kind of like, I want to tell this story on the podcast and I need to remember the details. So Monday night, we board the cruise. We're supposed to be on Monday through Friday. Another thing I'll say is before we left the port, the captain came on many times, like probably 5 to 10 times and said, "Hi, this is your captain speaking. Due to Hurricane Milton approaching, there is a chance Orlando could get hit pretty hard and Port Canaveral could be affected. This might extend our cruise. If you absolutely cannot extend your cruise and get back later than Friday morning, you need to get off the ship now." This was a little concerning. We weren't that worried because like I said, we were getting back Friday. We still had the whole weekend. Yes, my husband wanted to get back for work, but we could stay if we had to. It wasn't the end of the world. Plus, we'd already paid all this money and prepared so much and on the ship and going through the kids club. Like, we're not going to get off. We didn't talk to anybody who knew of anyone who got off during those announcements. But like, if you were getting married on Saturday or something like that, you probably needed to get off the cruise ship. So the captain did make it clear that like there's a chance we might not return on Friday. So, anyways, Monday night, we get on the ship, we have our whole night, and then we go to sleep. Our stateroom felt very tight. I knew it was going to feel tight. It's a cruise cabin, but 5 people in that room felt extremely tight. The bathroom has a split bathroom plan, which is like two swinging doors that feel like airplane bathroom doors. One has a sink and the small shower. The other one has a sink and a toilet. So that is nice that there are two sinks and two mirrors when people are getting ready and a little bit of storage space in both, but they are both extremely small. And like my husband and I aren't super tall people. I'm 5'4", he's 5'8", and we felt like the bathrooms were so small. When all the beds were down, we slept in the queen bed, and then there were two bunk beds. The stateroom attendant kind of comes and sets your cabin up for nighttime because during the day, it has a couch and you can't really see other beds, which is pretty cool the way it's designed. But then at nighttime, they come in and they switch the couch into an actual bed. They pull a bed down from the ceiling. And for our room, which fit 5, they pull a Murphy bed down from kind of like a cabinet. And then we also had our balcony, which was very nice. I was so thankful we had it, but it still felt too small. And where the Murphy bed pulls down, it's directly in front of the balcony. There's about 2 inches to get around it to go out to the balcony. We knew that. We saw that it was there. We still all hit our shins 100 times on the poles that extend from that Murphy bed. My shin is still bruised right now from the amount of times we hit our knees or our shins on that Murphy bed. So we all go to sleep. Everybody had like a good first day, but the boat is rocking. I sleep so hard every night. It's one of my like claim to fames is I still have no trouble sleeping, no issues, even being over 40. I sleep like a rock every single night. It's amazing. I woke up at 5 a.m. to the ship rocking and rolling, lightning and thunder and rain. So I am just hearing cracks of thunder. I'm seeing lightning through the shades, and we are rocking so much it wakes me up. So I did not love that feeling. I'm a little like, okay. And I could tell we were like booking it to get away from Florida. Like we were flying towards the Bahamas area. Also, because of so much rocking, our cabin creaked a lot. I don't know if this was common for everybody, if this is only because of the waves, but some of the beds and some of the walls and just the way our cabin was structured, it was like so much creaking all night long, which also woke a lot of us up and didn't allow for good solid sleep. So Monday at 5 a.m. is when I first started getting concerned about motion sickness. I've never had motion sickness in my entire life, so I was not really worried about it. I did bring children's Dramamine for my son because he has gotten motion sickness in the past, but I did not bring enough Dramamine or Bonine, which is another medication that is highly recommended. You can research them both. Bonine actually is supposed to work a little bit better. I took both on the ship. I think they both work fine. But I would recommend bringing that no matter what. Also, there's a prescription patch you can put behind your ear. I saw these on almost every other adult. I guess you just have to go talk to your doctor to get the prescription, but I would also highly recommend bringing those with you. So even though it had only been one night, we were like ready to get off this boat because it had been so much rocking since the second we stepped on it, and it was making us feel a little crazy. So Tuesday morning, we wake up in Nassau. On Disney cruises, it's like 50-50 if people get off. A lot of people stay on the boat just to explore the boat because they don't love Nassau. Nassau is a little chaotic and busy, but our kids had never been out of the country. They were really excited to visit a new country and get their passports stamped. So we all decided we were going to get off the boat in the Bahamas and go over to Atlantis. Now, I had also worked with Atlantis to get some discounted passes in exchange for content. I'm going to do some reels and some content about our experience at Atlantis. Atlantis. So we kind of also had like a reason to get off there. I will say booking Atlantis through Disney as an excursion is insanely expensive. It's like $250 a person or something crazy. It would have been over $1,000 for our family to go to Atlantis through Disney. But Disney does provide transportation, safe Disney transportation. So that's something to factor in if you want to go check out Atlantis or Baha Mar. We did not have Disney transportation because we had done our own thing. So we had to find our own transportation. So first I'll say getting off was kind of fun and exciting. If you want to get passport stamped just for fun, you do not have to, but we just wanted our kids who got their brand new passports to have their first stamp in their passport. So when you're getting off at Nassau, there's kind of like a government building. It's like a nice new building to the left. You can't really miss it. Glass doors. I think it says like tourism regulation or something like that. We went in there and we just said, hey, can we get our passport stamped? And they're like, yeah, sure, fine. They seemed kind of annoyed, but they call for someone from the back and he comes out with a passport stamp and stamped all the passports. So that was kind of fun. The kids thought it was really cool. And now they have a Bahamas stamp in their passports. So that was fun. Then we had to find our transportation. This was super chaotic. We hadn't really prepped our kids what like life and transportation and vacationing is like in countries outside of America. So they were a little like, what is going on? There was a lot of yelling, a lot of like, stand over here. They were trying, a lot of finagling the price. And my husband and I have traveled a ton. So we were just kind of like, oh yeah, no big deal. But my son, he can be a little like distracted and wander. And he was like wandering off. And at one point I couldn't find him. And I was like, Parker, you have to get over here right now. And he was like, what's the big deal? And I was like, we are in a different country. You cannot just wander off and get lost. And he was like, why? What's going to happen? Am I going to get like kidnapped? And I was like, maybe. And he was a little like, okay. So then we had to have like a little pep talk with our kids. Hey, huddle up. And we probably should have had that talk before. So I recommend maybe like giving your kids that little heads up before if they've never traveled out of the country. So we start getting shuffled around in different cab lines. It takes forever, but whatever. We finally get with a guy. It's supposed to be $5 a person. We get in with another group. There aren't enough seats for everybody. And he's like, come on, just get in, just get in. You're fine. Kids, squish together. Like very, kind of like forcing us in. The kids were like, what is going on? There's like loud Bahamas music playing in the van. They drive on the opposite side of the road. So his steering wheel was on the opposite side. And the kids were like, whoa. And then he's driving like a crazy person and everyone's driving like a crazy person. There's like no rhyme or reason to what lane anybody's in. I swore we were going to get hit by a truck multiple times. It's kind of the thrill of being in other countries. And I've done it enough that I'm like, they're going to get us there safely. Like they don't want to wreck. But we did see another cab that was kind of like fender bendered on the side of the road. And the kids were like wide eyed. So that was kind of funny and a little concerning. But he got us to Atlantis. So the two other ways to book Atlantis tickets if you don't want to pay through Disney and you just want to get your own cab is you can check Atlantis's website directly or call them and try to book direct tickets. You can even buy tickets for the water park when you arrive there. There's a line for people to get wristbands. So you can buy on the spot. You could call ahead of time. Resortpass.com is a website that sometimes offers day passes to resorts like this. Or this is a little hack and a little bit more of jumping around, but it works. For years and years now, Comfort Suites Paradise Island is a hotel right next to Atlantis, and they offer 4 wristbands when you book a room. My family did this in high school. We actually stayed there and took advantage of this 4 wristbands and spent all of our time at Atlantis, but stayed at the Comfort Suites. This deal still works. You can look it up on Reddit. There's tons of cruise hack information about this, and the Comfort Suites is used to it. They are used to people booking a room and not staying in it just to get the 4 wristbands. So when I checked before I had discussed doing content with Atlantis, it was like $400 a night, maybe even $350 a night to book a room for the day we were going to be in Nassau. So that would make our 4 wristbands less than $100 each, which is way cheaper than the Disney cruise and cheaper than buying straight up at Atlantis. So in that case, you would book a room through Comfort Suites. I was going to use points, so it would have basically been free, but book a room at Comfort Suites for the day your cruise is there. Then you would cab to Comfort Suites, check in, get your wristbands. You can even tell them we're not going to the room. Apparently, Comfort Suites loves it because they're still getting the money and the revenue, but they don't have to clean a room. So some people will use the room to go take like a nice shower if they want to use the room to like spread out and nap or shower or whatever. You could do that as well. And then you make your way over to Atlantis for the day. So there's that hack as well. So we got there. Now it was raining on and off, on and off. Towards the late afternoon, it actually ended up being a beautiful sunny day, but we were like in and out of rain, but it didn't really matter. We were on water slides. It was just more annoying to like move our backpacks in and out of cover. Um, but here's my overall opinion on Atlantis. I went in high school. It hasn't really changed. I mean, it's still so iconic and massive, and the big pink buildings feel so Bahamas. It's showing its wear. It's definitely showing its wear, but it's still an amazing place to be and a great way to spend a day off of a cruise ship. Tons of water slides, lots of little water slides, kind of like going from one pool to the next, splash pad play areas for little kids, a wild lazy river that is so fun. It's like a rapids lazy river. It takes like an hour to do. It is crazy. And it shoots you through these rapids that really feel like whitewater rafting. I mean, it was really, really fun. Big water slides, the iconic water slide where you go through a shark tunnel. Now, from the outside, I posted a video of it on my Instagram. It's really clear. You can see all the sharks swimming, and you can see the people going through the encased water slide in the middle of the shark tank. But on the inside, when you're actually in it, it's pretty clouded. Like, I wish they could, I don't know what they would need to do. I'm sure it's like they'd need to change all the glass, which would probably be like about impossible. But it's harder to see the sharks and the fish once you're inside the slide. You can still tell sharks are swimming around you, but it's not quite as clear. But we still all had a good time on that. The other thing that's nice is they have beach access to super clear water. So you can walk over a really pretty boardwalk and get down to the beach and swim. My kids were amazed at how clear the water was. They could see their feet. So that was fun to have some beach time. There's snack shacks and food and drinks and music and all that kind of stuff. So we had a great time. I would say it's still worth getting off there, especially if you can kind of get the Comfort Suites hack or buy directly through Atlantis or on resortpass.com. We enjoyed getting off the boat and having a change of scenery. Now, at this point, we still think we are probably going back on Friday morning. Cruise is going along as expected. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that when we boarded the ship and opened our app, you have to have this like Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. The very first day, we had been moved to early dining. So that was kind of a fun surprise. Also, a little like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I'd been planning on late dining this whole time, but whatever. So in the end, we ended up in the early dining at 5:45, and we really liked that. So just wanted to share that if you're choosing between the two. People like both for a variety of reasons, but we really liked getting dinner done and then letting our kids choose what they wanted to do. Did they want to go to the Broadway show? Or like my son wanted to go back to the kids club and play with his friends. So then he had the rest of the evening to run around and hang out with friends in the kids club. So we enjoyed early dining. So we get back on the cruise ship after Atlantis. We get ready for Arendelle. Arendelle was such a sweet restaurant. You walk down this super long hallway of art, and it's wallpapered just like you would be in Norway at their house or in a wing of the castle. They're basically saying that it's Kristoff and Anna's engagement party, and we're all invited. That's kind of the theme of the restaurant and the show. Our servers were so amazing. The service team that you get, your dining team, rotates with you each night. So the same people that served us in Marvel are now serving us in Arendelle. They get to know our names, they get to know our preferences. It's super sweet. At Arendelle, they have a really fun show where Anna and Elsa come out, and Kristoff, and singers from Arendelle that are singing all these songs. It's really a sweet, fun show. And the food was amazing. I got like the panko crusted cod. It was delicious. The food on the Disney Wish is absolutely delicious. This night was technically Halloween, so we sailed in October. So our cruise was called Halloween on the High Seas. So most of the year, it's just like a Disney Wish sailing. During Halloween, it's called Halloween on the High Seas. And then during Christmas, they have a maritime Christmas sailing. So most of the sailing is the same, except there's a few fun themed seasonal activities. So on Tuesday night, it was Halloween, where you could dress in costumes, go to trick or treat stations, and there was Mickey's Masquerade Ball, where all the characters are in Halloween costumes, which was super cute. So after dinner, we changed into costumes. Well, my son didn't. He ran back to the kids club and missed all of this, but he absolutely loved the kids club. My youngest dressed like Jasmine, my tween dressed like Belle. I put on like a jack-o'-lantern Halloween sweatshirt. The trick or treat station is really just one table that has a ton of bags of Halloween candy. So you walk up and you grab your bag. Now, it was a substantial bag. I mean, we got one for each kid, and they probably had 20 pieces of like regular good Halloween candy, like M&Ms and Snickers and Skittles and all the fun candy. So that was kind of fun, but it's not really trick or treating. You just like grab a bag and anyone can grab one. So there's that. Mickey's Masquerade Ball was really cute. My youngest absolutely loved it. She was front and center. This actually was out on the pool deck because we had sailed away from some rain. It was still very rocky because I think the entire ocean in that area was being affected by the tropical storms and the hurricane weather. But we were able to do that outside. It was really cute. Lots of fun music and all the characters in their costumes. Now, this is something else I'll say about the cruise that was kind of like a theme. There are people, families, and adults that just love Disney characters. My youngest, who is 6, now 7, but 6 at the time, loves a Disney character. The rest of us are like, they're fine. They're cute, whatever. It's a person in a costume. They don't do as much for us as I think they do for other families, which may have been another part of this cruise. Like, the rest of the ship just seemed over the moon that the characters are dancing on stage in Halloween costumes. I thought it was cute and enjoyable, but it's not like blowing my mind, making this the best trip ever. So there are a lot of characters and a lot of character shows. And for me, it was like sweet, but it really doesn't mean that much to me. And I think that plays into our overall thoughts on the cruise. So after that, it was time to go to bed. One fun thing you can do, this is a great tip, is if and when you meet your stateroom attendant, you can say, hey, I'd love character sheets for my kid. They are sleeping on this bed. This is not a guarantee. They only have so many, but it is a real Disney hack that I had heard about. So I found our stateroom attendant and I said, hey, we have a young girl and then kind of an older boy who would love character sheets. My kids didn't hear this. They had no idea this was even a thing. When our stateroom attendant made up our room that night, when my daughter got back, her bunk bed had been changed into Minnie Mouse sheets and a Minnie Mouse pillowcase. And my son's bed had been changed into Marvel superhero sheets and a Hulk pillowcase. They thought this was really cute. And the sheets are like super soft and cottony. I mean, all the sheets are comfortable, but this is a really sweet hack, especially if you have a little one that would find that really special and magical. We definitely tipped our stateroom attendant for this, but know that that's a little hack you can do, which might work out. As my husband and I were going to bed on Tuesday night, we were like, we have felt like we were already on this cruise for a week. I don't know what it was, but I think it's almost like a casino. It gets disorienting. You're like, what day is it? Where are we? There's no land in sight. We are in the middle of the ocean, rocking and rolling. It's just, for us, it was a little disorienting. And you're just kind of like stuck on this ship with like, once your kids go to kids club or go to bed, it's kind of like, what are we doing? So for us, it felt a little suffocating. And again, it's raining a lot. So even the balcony wasn't enjoyable. It was wet. And even to get in and out of it, it's quite of like a suction-y sound as you're opening and closing that door. We have 3 kids sleeping in the same room. It was just a little confining compared to other vacations when, we like to spread out and maybe someone will go read a book somewhere or someone will go to a porch. There wasn't any of that happening. We are just all sleeping in this teeny tiny room. And Tuesday night is when our trip really changes. At 3 a.m., my oldest wakes up super sick, super sick. I'm not going to go into all the details because I want to respect her privacy and not talk too much about it. But she had insane stomach cramps, vomiting, overall unwell feeling. Like she just kept saying, I feel so sick. I don't know what's going on. Like she was like moaning, like she felt as bad as it gets. Looking back, I don't know if it was a stomach bug. I don't know if it was food poisoning. A fever popped the next day. I actually just Googled last night, can you get fever from food poisoning? You can. This was the same week that all that crazy news was coming out about like Trader Joe's and chicken and all these meals that were like causing food poisoning. But I didn't hear about any other food poisoning on the ship. So, regardless of how she got what she got something bad. And it's like a worst case scenario for five people in a tiny cruise ship and a bathroom that she can't even fit in on her knees to try to get sick in the toilet. Like the door was butting up against her feet. Like think about being in an airplane getting sick. So literally a mom's worst nightmare for that child and for, oh my gosh, these spread so quickly. This is going to be the rest of our trip. She felt so bad that she wanted to go visit the medic. I was a little like, I don't know if we should do this, but I mean, I didn't know what was going on, and it's the middle of the night. I'm getting anxious, and I don't really usually have much anxiety or deal with much anxiousness, but when my kids are sick and when I'm stuck on a cruise ship, my anxiety levels were like going through the roof. So we called the medical button. They were great. They tell us how to get there. Deck one, look for this door. We go in. My daughter is just, we bring up our popcorn buckets turn into throw up buckets on this trip. We bring up an old popcorn bucket that we dump out so that she can use it as throw up. They are trying to help us. They're like, if we diagnose her with like true gastro stomach bug, you have to like stay in your stateroom for 24 hours. Like ever since COVID, that's has been a big thing. So they were like unsure if it was like female cramps, if it was we didn't know what it was. Okay, we'll move on from that. Basically, they give us some meds, some ibuprofen, some stuff that's specifically made for like stomach cramps. I had Zofran with me because I think most women who've had babies and have prescriptions to Zofran bring it with them on trips. That didn't even touch it. Okay, so Tuesday night, she continues to be up sick all night, multiple times. It was awful, absolutely awful. Wednesday morning, we dock in Castaway. Meanwhile, the boat is still rocking and rolling. I don't know if it's motion sickness she has. I'm feeling disgusting I'm feeling so nauseous. And so I start taking my kids Dramamine and I have to take like more than, the dosage because it's like for a child's dosage. So I'm like going through the kids' Dramamine too quickly. Down in the medic office, they do give us the other medication, which is like it's MECZ something. That's Bonine brand name. I start popping those like candy, and it does calm me down and make me feel better. So Wednesday morning, we wake up and we are at Castaway Cay. But my daughter and I can't get off. She is so sick. So my husband is just like, what are we going to do? So he's like, I'm going to take the other two off this ship. So my husband gets the other two situated, sunscreened, and they get off the boat to go over to Castaway Cay. I stay in the room with my oldest and take care of her. I go do laundry because at this point we've been in Orlando at the JW for 2 days. We've been on this cruise ship for 3 days and everybody's getting sick. We didn't pack a lot because a lot of people said, oh, don't pack that much. You'll just be in swimsuits and cover ups like the whole time. No, we weren't because it was raining the whole time. So we were in all our regular clothes. The laundry is great. I had bought detergent sheets where they're like dry detergent sheets that you can throw in. They're easy to pack on Amazon. I meant to bring those and dryer sheets. I forgot. But anyways, you can buy soap and dryer sheets in the laundromat. It's actually really cute. It's called like Fairy Tale Laundry or something, and it's adorable. You do have to use your key to the world card that they give you. This card gets you in and out of your room, allows you to pay for drinks, pay for anything that is not all included, which all main food is included, but like fancy coffees and alcoholic beverages and obviously like souvenirs aren't. You can use that to pay. You can also use that to do laundry. So I ended up just like buying the soap, figuring it out, doing laundry. That actually felt like, as a mom, I felt like I was doing something productive and clean. I went and bought Dawn dish soap. There's one major store called Mickey's Full Sale that has all the souvenirs and like a section with medicine and sunscreen and lotions and Dawn dish soap. And so I bought Dawn dish soap to start washing water bottles and stuff. Oh, one other quick hack about Castaway is everybody rushes off the boat that day because they want to get chairs. And that is kind of important. You do need to kind of rush off to get chairs. But because of that, the Aquamouse water slide does not have a long line. And I had heard that. So I recommended that my husband take my younger two to the Aquamouse to try it before they got to Castaway. And they did that. So they were able to do the Aquamouse water slide, which is really cool. It's the fun water slide that goes around the top of the ship and you can it's like a clear tube, so you're kind of look like you're over the ocean. Really cool. They had fun doing that. So around like 1, my husband and kids it's hot on Castaway. It is sunny, which was amazing. They had fun playing in the sand, swimming, getting some ice cream and lunch over there. So they walk back to the ship from Castaway Cay, Disney's private island. I haven't even seen it yet. I'm looking at it from my balcony. It looks really cool. Also, at this time, they start testing all the lifeboats. Now, I don't know if this is standard for cruises. Someone DM me and tell me. Maybe they do this on every cruise, but they test every single lifeboat and have it going out around in circles in the bay at Castaway Cay. And I'm like, cool, because now Hurricane Milton's about to hit Orlando on Wednesday, and we don't know what we're going to do. But my husband comes back and he's like, you should walk over and see it. Like, we're all the way here and you've done all this planning and you wanted to see it. Like, you should go snorkel to Prince Eric because I had wanted to do the snorkeling where there's like sunken statues and shipwrecks. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go for 1 hour because, you have these all aboard times where everybody has to be back on the ship by, I think it was 4 p.m. or 4:45. I'm walking over there around 2. So I really don't have that much time before I need to be walking back to get on the boat. But my daughter was starting to feel a little better, but still just like real uneasy. She's laying in bed watching movies. The fun thing is that the TVs have every Disney movie, cartoon there's ever been made. So it's kind of like you're using Netflix, but you can navigate to so much Disney content that kept her busy on her sick days. I'm still anxious someone else is going to get it. I'm telling everyone to wash their hands a million bajillion times. Our stateroom attendant was so nice. He's like, I'll clean, like, we didn't make a mess or anything, but he's like, I'll clean the bathroom. I mean, she had gotten sick in popcorn buckets that we are dumping down the toilet, rinsing out with Dawn dish soap. It's like good. I'm doing this podcast 2 weeks after the fact because in the moment, it was like legit. It felt like a nightmare. I kind of was joking that it turned from Halloween on the high seas to a nightmare on the high seas. So I walk over to Castaway Cay. It's cute. It's Bahamian. It's still Disney though. It definitely feels like you're on a Bahamas island. I knew about the adults only area called Serenity Bay. So I decided to just jump on a tram and book it over to the adults only area because the other area is still full of families. And I'm like, hey, I've been stuck in a room all day. I've been up for 24 hours down in the medic center, caring for a child. I'm going to go check out this adults only area. So you take a tram over to Serenity Bay. It's nice. It's not like super luxurious. It's still kind of like a chill Bahama Island. Like the chairs don't have like comfy chair cushions. They're like the, rubber strips, a typical beach chair. You know what I mean? But there's like a kind of Bahamian looking bar there. And I order a Miami Vice, which is my favorite, like poolside drink. I really don't care for sweet, fruity, frozen blended drinks, but every once in a while on a beach, by a pool, on an island, when you mix the pina colada with the strawberry daiquiri and it all kind of like flows together like lava, I love that drink. So I get a Miami Vice. I go to a chair that is sitting in the water. I bring my book that I've been wanting to read on vacation that I haven't touched yet. And I just plop down in a chair with my Miami Vice. The water is clear as day. It's pretty quiet because most people have been there all day and are now heading back to the ship. And I read for an hour and enjoy my Miami Vice. And that is exactly what I needed in that moment, to be off that rocking ship, feet in the sand. And I think the other thing that we are learning through this podcast and we learned through our trip about why we probably aren't cruisers. We thought we weren't cruisers. We tried it. I think we learned we aren't. Is that one of the great things about an island or a trip to the beach is that freedom to maybe stay at the beach longer because the sun is setting and it's gorgeous and you want to finish your book, or the kids are having the most beautiful time playing in the water. On a cruise, that doesn't work. You have to get back on the ship at 4 p.m. So for me, I felt like confined in a lot of ways. And I'm someone who doesn't like to feel constraints or stuck. I like spontaneity and I like freedom to do. And while there is a lot to do on the cruise ship, you're kind of confined to what's available to you that day. What dinner are you going to that day? That's the only dinner you can go to that day. What lounge is open for trivia? That's your choice right now as something to do, as opposed to like, we just want to sit on the beach and read our books, you know? So I enjoyed my 1 hour and then I took a tram back and got back on the ship. Wednesday night was pirate night. Every Disney cruise has a pirate night. It's fun. Everyone dresses like pirates, like almost everybody. You don't have to, but I had bought t-shirts off of Amazon. They were actually really cute. I got a girl version and a boy version. I will link my cruise must-haves list in the show notes so you can see everything that I personally actually purchased for our cruise. But it was really funny because I was wiped at this point. I'm stressed about sickness. I'm feeling sick and taking Dramamine, popping it like candy. I'm kind of getting sick of cruise life. We're slammed in this little room. I cannot find anything because our stuff is like all over the place. It's not like we've got separate rooms or areas to organize our stuff. So just like there's too much stuff everywhere. I can't like find my makeup or my toothbrush. Like I'm like, which little bathroom is it in? I can't remember which bathroom my lotion is in. And I looked at my husband that night and I said, the last thing I want to do right now is dress like a bleeping pirate. And I'll let you figure out what word I put in there because this is a family podcast. But I was like, I don't want to dress up like a pirate right now. I want to be on the beach reading my book. I want to go choose some appetizers and a glass of wine at a bar somewhere. I don't want to have to go back to Arendelle because they repeat a restaurant, but now it's a pirate night restaurant. So they don't do the Frozen show. They like pretend it's pirate night and there's a pirate menu on the table and everybody dresses like pirates and the staff acts like pirates. And I was just like, I was like getting a little annoyed with the theming at this point, which surprised me. I was very blown away at how much I wasn't liking this cruise. My husband was dying laughing because he was like, he was already skeptical about this trip. And I was like, I feel like I like it less than you. And he was a little like, your tune is changing every hour. It is just you are on like a downward spiral. And I was like, I am. But I dressed like a pirate, one for the kids, and two, because I didn't have many clothes choices because I didn't pack that much. My oldest was still recovering and not feeling well. We ordered her some chicken noodle soup to the room, which room service is awesome. Room service is 24/7. It's free. It's included in the price that you've already paid. There's lots of fun choices. One of our favorite things was there's a little cheese board. It's not like the fanciest cheese board in the world, but it's really cute. It has like probably 5 different types of cheeses, crackers, grapes, and some like dried fruit. And it was like the perfect thing to have some evenings before we were going to go do our thing. Oh, another thing, this is like random. There aren't drink packages on the Disney cruise. There kind of are, but not like a traditional cruise. You can't like pay ahead and be like, I'm a wine drinker, so now I get to order wine wherever I am and I've already paid for it. It's not quite like that. You're pretty much paying for alcohol as you go. But when you board the ship at the very beginning, you can bring on 2 bottles of wine per adult or 6 beers per adult. My husband's like not that huge of a beer drinker anymore. So we wanted to have wine to sip on in the evenings. And thank God we did this because we were on the ship for an entire freaking week. You have to put in your carry-on, which is kind of awkward. But when we were at the JW Marriott in Orlando, we Instacarted 4 bottles of wine to our hotel room just from like a local, I think it was like a Publix or something. And it's we Instacart all the time now on vacation. It's really not that expensive. We just got like regularly priced wine. So on that day when we boarded, I had 2 bottles in my backpack. He had 2 bottles in his, and then we put them in our mini fridge. And that was really nice to have for some evenings, especially since like day after day, we were getting more and more stressed out. We could pour a glass of wine and order the cheese board from room service. Room service will say it'll be 30 to 45 minutes. It always came in 20 to 30. And I've read that before. It typically comes in 20 to 30 minutes. So know that you can order a little cheese board. You could bring on your own wine and you can have like a nice little evening. We would try to sit on the balcony, but again, our room was so cramped. We finally started telling him to leave the beds down because the kids needed a place to like land. We had one couch and one bed if the beds weren't down, and there's like not enough places for us all to like chill, like literally, other than sit on the floor. So our stateroom attendant had said, "Do you want us to just leave the beds down for you?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." So then there was like very little floor space. So we're all just kind of like sitting on beds, whatever. Okay. Anyhow, it's pirate night. I get dressed. We go to our dinner back in Arendelle. I'm kind of like, okay, back to the same restaurant. It's a different menu. The food was actually okay. It's like pirate themed. So it's a little bit of like Caribbean jerk spices and flavors and stuff. Okay, during pirate night is when the captain comes on. And the captain does come on quite a bit during a cruise. It's kind of fun. They're like he's talking directly to you from the captain's deck. And everybody's like, shh, shh, shh. Because at this point, we had no news about what was happening. It was kind of hard to keep up with what was happening with the hurricane because you don't have like that good of cell service or Wi-Fi service. So he comes on and we're a little like, okay, we were supposed to get back on Friday morning. It's currently Wednesday night. I feel like I've been on this cruise ship an entire week. I'm thinking we might get back late Friday evening, maybe Saturday morning. We currently have Southwest flights booked for Friday at 7 p.m. That's what we currently have to get back home. He comes on and says, "Hello, everybody. Due to Hurricane Milton's presence in Orlando, Port Canaveral is going to close. Because of this, they have to work on getting all these cruise ships that are out in the sea different return times. And it's kind of like air traffic control. It's like a whole puzzle as to like who's getting in when and whatever." And he says, based on this information, it looks like we are going to go back on Sunday. And the whole restaurant gasped. Audible. And we're all just staring at each other like, number one, most of us have to change flights. Number two, oh my gosh, we're going to be on this cruise ship till Sunday. He said, we don't know what time yet. It could be till Sunday night. I am just like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? And no, my mom would text me probably and say, "No, Kelsey, you are on a cruise ship in hurricane season, you idiot." So, living and learning. Maybe at 40, I'll finally not be quite so optimistic about everything in life. I am just a little distraught. My daughter, who's still not with us because she still doesn't feel well, she's recovering in the room, texts me and says, "OMG," with like a cry emoji. And I'm like, I know, honey, I know. Like she wants to get off the ship. Even my youngest, she was liking it and having some fun, but she also gets a little overwhelmed in like really chaotic, loud environments, and kind of everything's chaotic and loud and crowded. And sometimes she would go, "When are we going to get off the ship and go home?" Like she was a little also feeling like we'd been on the ship forever and a little disoriented. So we are all just, what is happening? The servers were great. They're trying to make light of it. Hey, extra 2 free days. Disney lovers and Disney cruise lovers were like, "Oh my gosh, 2 free days on the Disney ship. This is a miracle come true." So there were like two camps of people. This is a miracle, and this is the worst news we've ever heard. I'm just somewhere in the middle, like, is this real life? And then he's like, "Now, none of this is confirmed yet, so we still could return earlier. So nothing is confirmed. It's just like a maybe Sunday, but maybe earlier." After Pirate Night, that night is the Little Mermaid Broadway show. My oldest doesn't feel good enough to go. My youngest wants to go, and she wears like Ariel Disney ears, and just her and I go. That was kind of sweet. The theater is gorgeous. You want to show up at least 15 to 20 minutes early, maybe even 30 if you have a large group, to secure your seats. If you're showing up 5 minutes early, you're not finding seats together. It's a true, now, a lot of people had said and told me it is Broadway style production. I'm someone who absolutely loves a Broadway show, and I go to a lot of them, like a few each year, whether they're traveling or in other cities. I wouldn't say it's Broadway quality, but it is very good. It's a very good show. It's live. singing and dancing and storytelling, which sometimes for kids can feel a little long and slow. I think for my youngest, she liked it, but I would say it was good. We enjoyed the Little Mermaid show. It didn't like knock our socks off, but it was enjoyable. Ursula was like the best character ever. If she's still the same one, if you go on this cruise after my glowing review, Ursula was incredible. So we do that. Now, Pirate Night, the true part of Pirate Night, starts at 10:15 p.m. This is kind of a rock and roll show where they're playing guitars and there's cool pirates with like black eye makeup on, playing electric guitars. There's characters, there's dancing, and then there's fireworks at the end. I had been looking forward to this. My son really wanted to go, but I was exhausted at this point. I had not slept yet. I was up every night with the rocking ship, Thunder. I literally had not slept. I was terrified everyone else was going to get sick. I decided our family needed to sleep. I still regret this decision a little bit because my son started crying. He wanted to go to Pirate Night so bad, but we would have been up till 11:30 p.m. and none of us had been sleeping well at all. I just felt like if we stayed up till 11 or midnight, we were doomed. Like our immune systems were going to be shot. We were all going to be so grumpy and tired the next day. We were all going to get sick. And my husband was in the same camp as me. He's like, absolutely not. We're all going to sleep. So I kind of feel bad because my son had heard how fun it was. We'd been told it was amazing. I did hear the fireworks go off at like 11 p.m. It's kind of a bummer it's so late because this is like a cruise full of kids. So whether it was the right decision or not, we decided we were all going to get ready for bed and go to sleep and not do pirate night, even though we were already dressed like pirates. So I felt a little bad about that. But we still had pirate night at dinner and enjoyed the ship in our pirate clothes, just like everybody else. Now, the good thing is we slept our entire cabin slept from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. We were like lights out. That was the one night I slept. It felt amazing. In hindsight, it probably was the right mom decision because I just needed our family to get back on track. So Thursday was always our planned at sea day. On this Disney cruise, we're going to board Monday, have Monday to enjoy it, have Tuesday at NASA, Wednesday at Castaway, Thursday on the sea, exploring the ship, Friday morning, getting off that ship. But now we don't really know what's coming. So the good thing is we all slept past 9 a.m. and my daughter was feeling back to normal and feeling great. So I was like, okay, back on track. We started really heavying up on electrolytes. There is vitamin water in the drink dispenser machines on the Disney Wish. We started each drinking a few of those a day because I looked it up and it does have a lot of electrolytes in it. So the acai pomegranate vitamin water was wonderful for all of us. We thought, ooh, we have slept till 9. We're going to go up to the buffet at 10 and it's not going to be crowded. We were wrong. Apparently, everybody slept in that day, probably because Pirate Night went so long. So it was still slammed. And that was the craziest thing about Marceline Market is that it is just jammed with people. But we had a good breakfast. They have really good food up there. I did learn later in the cruise. I mean, I knew this, but I didn't take advantage of it. One restaurant every day is open for breakfast and lunch during specified hours. And we started doing that later in the cruise, and it was a dream. It is quiet, and there is nice, quiet music playing, and a server comes and takes your order from a menu, and the food is better. So if you want to feel like you're on vacation and you're being catered to, and it's a more calm meal experience, I recommend visiting the restaurants during your breakfast and lunch periods. We spent some time this day changing our flights, which was kind of hard to do because like your Wi-Fi isn't as good as it would be at home. So some of the websites would be like, we can't complete this or whatever. My husband finally ended up calling over Wi-Fi, like maybe FaceTime audio, Southwest, getting our flights changed to Sunday night because we didn't know when to make them for. And also there weren't that many choices. So our flights were Sunday, 7 p.m., which was just making me so sad. Number one, my husband had wanted to get back for work. Number two, I had planned on having this like full weekend at home to get back on track. And my daughter's birthday was coming up and I was going to do birthday party prep. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, we are getting back and like going straight into a new week. I was also still feeling like so gross from the rocking. I kid you not, right now, sitting at this podcast microphone 2 weeks later, I can still feel rocking sometimes. Maybe it's in my head, maybe I'm losing my mind, but there are times where I'm still like, whoa, I feel rocking in my head. Like, I swear this Disney cruise changed my brain chemistry. But we got our flights changed. We did some souvenir shopping, which the girls really enjoyed. Everybody found something, actually. I think the best shop is Mickey's Full Sail on deck five. We went up to some of the other shops. They're just a little bit nicer and a little bit fancier, but this one had all the typical things. My oldest got a Disney Cruise t-shirt that she loves. My middle guy got a model replica, model replica of the Disney Wish that he has displayed in his room. And then my youngest got a Minnie Mouse stuffy of her in her Halloween costume, which is really cute. And she carried with her throughout the rest of the cruise. So everyone found their one souvenir. We didn't give them a dollar amount because they all like such different things right now that I just said, choose one thing that would mean a lot to you. There's no reason to choose the most expensive thing. Choose what means the most to you. So they were all different price ranges, but everybody came away with one thing they liked. Then we did the family time game show in Luna Lounge. This was really fun. It's live entertainment. They bring families up on stage like a game show. They ask them questions about each other and they have to like have matching answers about like what's the most embarrassing thing your dad does or is your mom really a good cook? And really there was a lot of laughter, a lot of fun. I highly recommend the family time game show. I would have like gone to it again. That was maybe one of my more enjoyable moments of the cruise. At this point, we are just circling Nassau. There is a website called Cruise Mapper. It's kind of like FlightAware, if you know that app where you can track flights, but you can track cruise ships. So everyone starts tracking us because we don't know where we're going. There's no clarification as to what we're doing. It's Thursday. It's already an at-sea day, but normally we'd be like slowly heading back towards Port Canaveral on this at-sea day. But we are literally, if you look at the cruise map, we are just doing circles in and around the Bahamas area. So I'm like extremely disoriented because all I can see is ocean. We're just stuck on the ship. I don't know what we're doing. My son went back to the kids club this day, and my oldest took my youngest around to meet characters, which was kind of fun. If you do have like an older tween, it is kind of fun because they can kind of take the other kids around. And there is a lot of freedom for the kids on the cruise ship, which is kind of fun. My husband and I decided to check out the adults only area while they were all occupied, which is on deck like 12. And so there is a nice adult only area that has tons of loungers with big cushiony seats, kind of like daybed loungers, a bar, some hot tubby situations, some pools where you can kind of sit around and just put your feet in, but your like body isn't in the water if you wanted to like read a book like that. There was some live music, a guy playing a guitar. So this was a cool area. We didn't get to access it as much because we were a little busy, but there is an adult only area. It's kind of like long and skinny. It's not massive, but it is a place to get away, read a book, grab a drink, listen to some live music. So we enjoyed checking that out for a little while. We decided we wanted to try the spa's rainforest room on Friday because we knew we were going to be on the ship on Friday again, just kind of sailing around still in circles in the ocean, in the rocky waves. And I was like kind of losing my mind. I've never taken a Xanax in my life. If someone had a bottle of Xanax, I would have taken one in a heartbeat. My anxiety levels were just rising. I needed like a warm hug from medication. And I am not someone who would normally say that. So we called the rainforest room, which is like kind of like the spa day pass area. And they said we had to call back at 8 a.m. to see how many would be available that day because it depends on how many people book services. People who book services obviously have first rights to the relaxing areas. So we put that on our mental note to call Friday. We had no plans on Friday, just on this ship again. For dinner this night was our scheduled 1923. This was my favorite restaurant. It feels like a fancy old school restaurant. There's like jazz music playing. There's tons of cool Disney memorabilia and art on the walls. Just a ton to look at. Very classy feeling. The filet mignon here is amazing. They say to sub the dauphine potatoes instead of the mashed potatoes. It's kind of like a potato that's cut in little slits with some butter and garlic that's roasted. And I did that. It was an amazing dinner. My kids got steaks. One amazing thing about the Disney cruise is if your kids order a steak or chicken, your server cuts it for them. It is like the service is top notch. The service the entire time was top notch. I love Disney for that. They are known for that, and they did not miss a beat in service. It is, you are catered to the entire time. So we all absolutely loved our 1923 dinner. My son, surprise, surprise, went back to kids club. I can't remember what my girls did, maybe kids club. I don't know. My husband and I checked out the hyperspace lounge, which is the Star Wars lounge. Kind of cool, kind of small. There's a little bit of like a screen that looks like you're in space, but I would say there's not much to the hyperspace lounge. We went back up to the Rose. We're like, hey, Hemi, we're still on this ship. Can you make us another espresso martini? We're kind of losing our minds. And he's like, I got you. So went back up to the Rose for an espresso martini. And then we headed back to the room. My oldest did meet up with her friend, and they did the Aqua Mouse a few times from 8 to 9 p.m. This is another tip. There's no line at the Aqua Mouse from 8 to 9 p.m. It closes at 9 p.m. Yes, it's dark out, so you can't see the ocean as much, but for kids that are up for it and are kind of bored, this is the time to go get in line over and over again. So she got to do the water slide a bunch of times, and then we all went to bed on Thursday night, knowing that normally we'd be getting off the boat in the morning. My mom anxiety, there's dirty laundry again everywhere. We have no end in sight. I was not feeling well Thursday night. Our cabin was rocking and rolling again. If I laid in my bed, just on my back with my knees in the air, my knees were swaying from side to side. That's how much my bed was rocking. I overheard one lady go, I rolled out of my bed last night. Like it kind of felt like you could. My anxiety was through the roof. I was thinking about someone else getting sick. Any tiny movement or like if a kid rolled over, I was scared. The kid on the top bunk was about to get sick on top of the kid on the bottom bunk. Like I could not get my brain about me to calm down. And so I was like, get me off this ship. I slept that one night. That one night we all slept from 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. Thank God. Otherwise, I like really didn't sleep, which doesn't help your overall feelings of a vacation. So we wake up Friday morning and I am like done. I'm done with the cruise. I want to get off the ship and I can't get off the ship. However, I will say the way Disney Cruise Line handles a hurricane is impressive. The logistics were amazing. Didn't miss a beat. Your app is automatically updated. Everything's changing. Now you have more dinner reservations assigned to different nights. New activities and games are there. Like the staff, they were kind of like, we work anyways. We would have had new people get on this cruise ship the day you got off. Like we work every day anyway. So to us, it's no big difference. Now, I did hear people saying, remember when you tip people, like at the end of your cruise, a lot of people will tip the stateroom attendant or the dining team at the end. They were like, remember that they're missing another cruise. So they had to cancel the weekend cruise. There's always a weekend cruise and a weekday cruise and a weekend cruise and a weekday cruise. They had to fully cancel that weekend cruise because we were still on the boat. So normally they would have gotten 2 rounds of tipping. So everybody was like, not everybody can do it, but if you can up your tip a little bit more than you would have, remember they're missing out on a round of tips. So we tried to up our tips a little bit. But Friday morning we wake up, we're still just sailing on the high seas. My husband calls and they say, yes, we can reserve 2 rainforest room passes at the spa for you guys. So we run up there at 8 a.m. and get these special stickers on our Key to the World cards that say that we have access to the rainforest room all day long. Parker goes off to the kids club. Surprise, surprise. He literally lived there. We would have to like go get him to get a meal or see the daylight. I'm like, eat a chicken finger and come see the sunlight. It's amazing that he didn't get sick, but I'm so happy he loved it so much and made so many friends. He's still in touch with some of the friends he made on the cruise today, which was kind of fun. The girls went off to meet characters, which is fun because on the app, you can see where they all are. And my oldest has a phone now, so she was able to capture all the photos of the characters of my youngest. So I was like, sweet, have a blast. And then my husband and I went off to the fitness center and the spa. I really needed this. I was kind of losing my mind, and this was a nice reset for me. The fitness room is beautiful and great and big. It's free to anybody who wants to use it. We both got a treadmill that was overlooking the ocean. My husband ran and I walked for 30 minutes on an incline. I just listened to a podcast and reset myself and looked at the horizon because I heard if you're not feeling well motion sickness, you should look at the horizon line. So I'm just like staring at the horizon line, walking on my treadmill. And then we visited the rainforest room and it was a dream. We had brought our swimsuits up with us. So we went into the separate men's and women's changing areas and got into our swimsuits and our robes. I brought my book with me. We entered the rainforest room and this was a dream. There are heated loungers that you can sit in and just have a nice, relaxing, warm hug in this lounger and sleep or read. There's water trickling everywhere. There's spa music playing. There is a steam room, a sauna, and ice room, which is kind of cool, that you can sit in and it's cold. It's not like jarring. It's kind of comfortable and refreshing. And there's a big ice machine in the middle, kind of like making ice that looks really cool. There is an two outdoor hot tubs with jets that are big enough for multiple people to relax in. There are tons of daybed swings that two people can comfortably sit on with a million pillows. We got a daybed. We lay down and just kind of breathed for a minute, stared at the sky, took some breaths, read. My husband napped. We sat in the hot tub. We were like, this is where it's at. We spent a lot of time in one of the saunas. It truly brought us back to life. And then there was a fun announcement that came while we were on the daybed. And this is the best part of this story. From the rainforest room outdoor area, you can see directly into the captain's deck. Like literally the captain standing there with his arms crossed, scanning the ocean. And we see two captains, the main captain and then kind of like the assistant captain, side by side, and they go to the microphone and start talking. So we can literally see them giving this announcement. So the captain comes on and he says, "Hello, we have some updates for you all. We want to let you know that we have found out we will officially be arriving back to Port Canaveral Sunday morning. So at least we have a time now, right? Like we're going back Sunday morning. And as a gift to you all and as an exciting celebration, we wanted to let you know that we will be docking again tomorrow, Saturday at Castaway Cay, so that you can enjoy the island and that you can have another fun day off the ship." The whole boat cheered. The fun thing was the main captain made that announcement, and I was like, put my arms up, like, yes. And then it switched to the kind of more entertainment captain where he was giving the details about our day tomorrow. And the main captain waved at me, and I waved both my hands back at him and gave him two big thumbs up, smiling, and he gave me two thumbs up back. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was able to say thank you to this captain. Like, thank you for letting us dock somewhere. Like, it's all up to the captain, and they've got to figure out the logistics. I don't know if this is true, but a lot of us would talk to the cast members and try to get information out of them. Like, where do you really sleep? What are your rooms like? And someone said that when we docked at Castaway late Friday night around midnight, while we're all like falling asleep, a bunch of the cast members got off the ship and prepped the island for us for Saturday morning. These people work so hard with a smile on their face 24/7, the ultimate customer service. They are incredible. And so I was just so thankful that these people that have been serving us for 5 days straight, they get off that ship and work Castaway Cay for you. You'll see them in the bars there. You're like, I just saw you last night at 11 p.m. at the Rose Bar, and now you're at Castaway Cay. You got up, got off the ship at 7 a.m. and made your way. I mean, the crew and staff is incredible. So after that fun announcement, our kids wanted to eat lunch somewhere. And so we decided we were going to go to the sit down lunch in 1923. This was a dream. We found our friends that we knew who were also on our cruise ship. We had lunch with them. We all ordered salads and ahi tuna and calamari. It was super fun and relaxing. So I highly recommend hitting up those restaurants that are open for lunches and breakfasts. Then we just chilled on the pool deck for a little while. The pool deck isn't exactly what I was expecting. There's a lot of small pools. Most of them feel like wading pools. You're not really swimming. There's a couple that are deeper that the kids can kind of get up to their shoulders swimming in, but you're not like really swimming. But it is fun to see the huge Disney movies on the massive screen, grab some chairs, kick your feet up, and just kind of relax in the sunshine and watch a movie. That evening, we decided we were going to skip going to dinner because we were supposed to go back to Marvel, and we just didn't want to go back to another restaurant like that. So we went up to the pool deck and we just ordered from those pool deck windows. I got a Mexican bowl everybody just kind of ordered something that sounded good. We ate up on the pool deck because we were just kind of like sick of going back through these restaurants again. I did feel bad that we didn't see our dining staff that we were getting to know, but we just like needed a break from these like three themed restaurants. My son was back in the kids club in the evening. My daughters and my husband and I visited the Bayou, which is Tiana's lounge area. It's gorgeous. There are flowers dripping from the ceiling. Very cool vibe. We got beignets there, which they make delicious beignets since Tiana is like based in New Orleans. And my girls absolutely loved the powdered sugar dusted beignets. And then Friday night, I finally got another great sleep. So I think I just like needed to know when we were docking. I felt good about going back to Castaway. My oldest was thrilled because she had missed Castaway Cay altogether. My oldest was sick that day and never got off the boat and never saw Disney's Private Island. So she was like, oh my gosh, yes, I get to see it. So Saturday morning, we woke up and we were thrilled about going to Castaway. One fun thing is they host a Castaway Cay 5K. Back in the day, it used to be like an organized race, but after COVID, it became like a run at your own pace type thing. So you find the start point and there's a path all the way through. And then at the end, you can go up to a little table and you can retrieve your medal, which is like a cute silicone medal that you can wear around your neck. My husband loves to run. He runs 3 to 4 times a week, like 3 to 6 miles. So he like needed to get a run in. And he was like, I'm going to do that 5K. So I was super thankful because he took our backpacks over and a bunch of our belongings and saved chairs for us. Because the family area at Castaway Cay, there's a few. There's the first area. And then if you keep walking, the second area is where there's the water slides and like a big play structure in the ocean. So he walked all the way to that far area, saved us 5 chairs, which was super nice, ran the 5K and was able to kind of sit in silence by himself for a little bit this time while I handled the kids on the boat. I was like, let's go to one of those chill breakfasts. So we all got in our swimsuits and our cover ups and had our backpacks for the day ready to go. And we went down to 1923, my favorite calm, fancy feeling restaurant, and had a sit down breakfast. My daughter got French toast. I got a omelet with my choice of ingredients, crispy bacon, some sliced cucumbers, and a hash brown. My younger two got chocolate chip pancakes. It was lovely. They came around with a pastry basket and everyone chose different cinnamon rolls and chocolate croissants. It just felt so fancy and so lovely and exactly what we needed. Also, we knew that we had someone saving chairs for us, so we weren't rushing off the boat. So things were finally looking up. And I was like, maybe I do like the Disney cruise. I don't know. We make our way to Castaway. It's super fun. There's characters. There's Captain Hook and Smee. You can stop to take a picture with. We get to our chairs. We do our sunscreen and we just play. My husband and older two went into the play structure area. The water slides go super fast. Just know that like a lot of people say water rushes up your nose so fast. Like you got to be ready for a serious plunge into the ocean. But they did the water slides for like an hour. My youngest, this is where the collapsible beach toys came in so clutch. I bought these on Amazon. They're in my link that's in the show notes. They come flat packed in a flat box and they're you expand these buckets like a little collapsible bucket. So she played with these beach toys, shovels, rakes, molds for an hour. She and I went swimming out into the clear water. There's life jackets everywhere. So she grabbed a life jacket and we went out and just played in the clear ocean, which is what I was more picturing on vacation, is like playing in clear ocean water and not being stuck on a cruise ship. But I guess when you're on a cruise ship, that's the whole point, is that you enjoy the cruise ship. But maybe I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. Then my son and I did the snorkeling. We rented our snorkel gear. We were going to pack some, but we just like didn't want to pack any more things once I was done packing for this trip. So we rented snorkel gear. We went out to the sunken statues. It's quite a swim. I would say no one under 9, unless they are a very strong swimmer and love swimming and snorkeling. My 9-year-old did great. My 12-year-old also loved it, but you swim a ways. Like I was kind of exhausted coming back, ready to be done. So you swim a ways out, and I only found 4. My husband and oldest daughter found 8, but you're looking for round buoys. They're white or neon orange, way off in the distance. And when you find one, there's something under it that you can go explore. And you will see fish, not very many. It's not as much of a wildlife snorkeling excursion as it is like a sunken treasure excursion. But I found Prince Eric. I touched him. It's so cheesy, but I just think that's cute and kind of part of the Disney charm. So I was really proud of my son. That was his first time doing like a snorkel excursion, and he did a great job. And it was fun for us to have a little time together. Then we all went back and had lunch. There's a big place to eat lunch, huge buffet with barbecue, hot dogs, burgers, chicken tenders, macaroni salad, cornbread. Everyone had a big, yummy lunch. Then my husband and daughter took their turn snorkeling and loved it and had a great time. My son and daughter, my younger two, played for an hour and a half on the beach together with all the beach toys. They buried each other. They played restaurant shop with the sand toys. I read my book on a beach chair. This is kind of what I'm getting back to, that like on some of our most memorable beach vacations, everything's perfect and you just kind of want it to stay perfect and you don't want to have to all aboard time, got to get back on the ship by 3:45. Today it was a 3:45 all aboard time. And I just never got that full relaxation feel. I just felt rushed and shuffled around and with a million other people all the time, just like people everywhere. But we had an amazing day on Castaway Cay. There's soft serve ice cream there too. Everybody got their ice cream. We had dinner back at Arendelle with the same menu, which was fine. We wanted to go back to this dinner because it was the last time we would see our dining staff. Our departing breakfast was scheduled for 6:45 a.m. and I just had no interest in making that work. So we went and brought them tips in envelopes. They give you envelopes if you would like to add extra tips. So we said goodbye. We had our last Arendelle dinner. They did not do the show, but Elsa and Anna did come in and walk around and kind of say hi, I think just to boost the mood since we were still in Arendelle for the sixth night. Well, not the sixth night in Arendelle, but the sixth night on this ship. So we had a nice final dinner together. Saturday night's show was Aladdin. They had pushed it out, I think, to kind of give people something to look forward to. And so my son wanted to go back to the kids club, surprise, surprise, but the rest of us went to Aladdin. It was very good, very funny. Loved Aladdin, got fresh popcorn buckets since we'd been using our other ones for other things. And that was a very fun time for the four of us. My son had asked us if he could go on the Aquamouse from 8 to 9 p.m. because he wanted his turn to do it. I think he said he did it 20 times in a row. So again, unbelievable that child didn't get motion sickness or any sort of sickness, but he had his fun time doing the Aquamouse. I mean, we really explored every nook and cranny of this cruise ship. I'm not sure there's one thing we didn't do. So we do have a full and honest review here. And then packing up for a family of five in a tiny cabin is a little stressful. So we spent the rest of the evening after Aladdin packing everything up, trying to find everything in this tiny, tiny stateroom. You put your luggage out the night before, which is nice because they take it for you and take it off the ship for you. So it's kind of hard to like bring big luggage through a cruise ship. But then you've got to think about what you need in the morning, like your toiletries. So since there's five of us and we had 5 toiletry bags and 5, sets of pajamas that we would need to put in a dirty clothes bag, we kept one suitcase back to wheel off with us because we just needed a suitcase to throw stuff in. And we packed the others, put them out. And it was a very rocky trip back. Again, it felt like they were kind of gunning it from the Bahamas back to Port Canaveral. I had a sense of relief that we were going home, but it was extremely rocky. Everything was creaking in the stateroom. The beds were creaking. I didn't sleep at all. We had 6 a.m. alarm set for the last day, which isn't super fun because some people in our family wanted to go see our dining staff one more time at our scheduled breakfast before our departation time. I was like, I'm going to stay in the room and get ready, and I will get Starbucks at the airport or something else. Oh, also, our husband was able to change our flights to 11 a.m., which was seriously a godsend. They were supposed to be at 7 p.m., but we knew that we were docking and basically going to be able to get off the ship early. So he somehow got us shifted to an 11 a.m. flight. So at least we weren't going to get home Sunday night. I literally didn't sleep a wink, but when our alarm started going off at 6 a.m. and I opened those blinds to see Orlando and Port Canaveral, I was like, thank heavens. We are back to America. Normally, you're supposed to follow this protocol with your debarkation time and this whole thing. I looked down at 6:30 a.m. and you could see kind of like the clear tunnel jet bridge thing, cruise tunnel where people are leaving the ship. There were people leaving in droves. They were wheeling those suitcases off by themselves so fast. I was dying laughing. Like you could tell there was a good amount of people that were like, get me off this ship immediately. My husband and older two went down to breakfast because they desperately wanted to see our dining staff one more time, which was sweet. My littlest and I stayed back. I just let her sleep while I packed up the room a little bit more. Debarkation was so easy. Normally, they say they give you a time, and they basically said everyone's free to go. I think the cruise knew and everyone else knew we all want to get off this ship. Okay. So we got off at like 7:30 a.m. Our luggage was waiting right there for us. We ordered an Uber XL back to the airport, and we were at the airport by probably 8:30 a.m. I was so happy we had our 11 a.m. flight. We got some Starbucks, and we all were just like trying to process what had just happened. So that is our Disney cruise. I wanted to share this honestly because I probably have listened to every Disney cruise podcast available up until we went on ours. And everything is so glowy and lovely and perfect that I just wanted to share another perspective. I'm not trying to dissuade anybody. I mean, I was looking around that ship and thinking, look at all these smiling families. Look at all these laughing families who are absolutely loving every single second of this Disney cruise. Now, I think back and wonder, had my daughter not gotten sick, had we not had rocky seas, so it messed up a lot of the outdoor shows, I started feeling sick, had our cruise not gotten extended and we only got the little doses of Disney magic that we needed, maybe I would have loved it. I don't really know. But my husband and I both agreed that at the end of it, we don't think we are cruise people. We like a little bit of freedom to shift our plans. We like sitting on a beach until the sun sets. We like letting those moments when your family finally falls into a rhythm and everything is feeling like that perfect vacation moment that's really hard to find, to sit in that a little longer. And you don't really get that choice. It felt very fun, but like super chaotic and rushed. And where are my kids? And who's at kids club? And are they washing their hands? And there's a million people at this show and you got to get here 30 minutes early to save your seat. It was just not as enjoyable as I expected. And that's okay. We aren't disappointed we went. We felt like we needed to check that box for our family because I was so on this high horse about going on a cruise. Now I know. Now we are not booking another cruise anytime soon, if ever. Maybe something different like an Alaskan cruise someday or a riverboat cruise someday. But honestly, when I say right now my head still feels a little wonky, it's not in our near future at all. So anyways, thanks for sticking around for such a long episode and listening to my entire retelling of our Disney cruise during Hurricane Milton that got extended from a 4-night to a 6-night, 7 days on the Disney Wish. If you've had a crazy cruise story like this, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com because I would love to hear another story. I feel like I'm the only one out here that's like, I didn't love it. Although when I started honestly sharing my Instagram stories, which I have all of this saved in an Instagram highlight at my Kelsey Graves Instagram account under the Disney Wish highlight bubble, if you want to see any of this in person, I started getting a ton of DMs from people going, girl, we had the same experience. Girl, we did not love our Disney cruise. We love the parks. We're not cruise people. So we think we might be parks people. We would love to book a nice hotel, whether it's on or off property, maybe like the Evermore or going back to the JW Marriott Orlando, taking a shuttle over for a park day and relaxing back at the resort for hours, not being on such a strict schedule. So thanks y'all for being here. That was our experience on the Disney Wish. I will see you next time on Trip Tales. That wraps up another episode of Trip Tales. If you have a trip you'd like to share about on the podcast, email me at triptalespodcast@gmail.com and I'll add you to the schedule. Also, be sure to follow the show so that you don't miss any upcoming vacation destinations. And if you have an extra minute in your day, please leave a review for the podcast. It helps more than you could imagine. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode of Trip Tales.